Hello and welcome to the Post to Post podcast. It is podcast number 74. My name's Neil. I'm joined here with Brent.
Hello.
We are deep into the second round of the NHL playoffs. We have one team eliminated already, which is a bit of a surprise.
Bit of a shock. Another
I'm
sweep.
To be honest.
A sweep.
A sweep of a team that swept.
That swept.
Yeah.
You sweep and then you get swept.
Do you know the last team to do that?
I don't.
The Buffalo Sabres in 1993.
Really?
Yes.
They swept in and then got swept out.
Yes.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the year that they took down Boston, I think. Boston was a strong team, maybe in 93. And
Pittsburgh
it's
got
one of the
taken
reasons.
down.
It's one of the reasons Montreal won. I think that year is because one of the lower seed teams took out
other teams did all the dirty work.
Exactly, yeah. So it's pretty interesting. We have not filmed the series recap video for that yet. I have the thumbnail made already, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it because you've been away this entire week down in the United States. We'll talk about that at the end of the podcast and get a little off topic, but. We were also going to film a mail time today, but you're feeling a little bit under the weather.
I'm under the weather. The day I left for down there, I felt a scratch in my throat, and it's just gotten worse ever since.
The rest was history.
I've got a full-blown...
So you're not going to do much talking in this podcast?
Not much at all. I'm going to sip some orange juice and just be along for the ride.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do much talking either because there's not really that much to talk about. There's only... We're down to basically 2 games a night, and like last night, there was only 1 game.
Every time we say we don't have much, we always end up like over an hour.
No, that's true. I don't have many notes, so unless you want to talk about your trip for 40 minutes,
I could, but I don't think the viewers would.
Probably not.
No.
Anyways, let's talk about each series if you don't mind.
Sure.
So, Dallas and St. Louis. And here's the other thing: since you've been away, you haven't really gotten to see any of the games, so you're pretty disconnected from round 2 right now.
I haven't, and this is part of my trip rant later on.
Yeah.
The hotel we were at doesn't have NBCSN, so we were...
Even if you wanted to watch the games, you couldn't.
I couldn't, and we tried. We tried to find them. Could not find them.
Frustrating.
All I could find was basketball and then channels where guys are sitting there talking about basketball. Oh, man.
Yeah, basketball is pretty big right now. Okay, so Dallas and St. Louis. Dallas is up on that series 3-2. Game 6 is tonight in Dallas. Do you plan to watch that game?
I do.
Me as well.
I do.
I'm very excited for that game. Yeah. I fully expect St. Louis to win that game, to be honest. They've, for the most part, been a very good road team. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, this series has been really, really close. It's almost deserving of a 7th game. So, and although I'm cheering for Dallas and I want them to win, I kind of feel like St. Louis needs to win tonight just because the series deserves to go to 7 games. So it's going to be a really good game. That place is going to be rocking. It's going to be loud. It's going to be awesome. I thought Bishop, and again, it's tough because you didn't see the last game, but Bishop is the reason that they won that last game. He was phenomenal. I'm not sure if you looked at the stats or read anything or heard anything. Anyways, he was phenomenal. It was anyone who watched the game knows what I'm talking about. He was just awesome. They did a really good segment on Sportsnet in between periods. Maybe it wasn't in between periods. Maybe it was Pierre Maguire who did it. And I don't like to compliment Pierre Maguire very often, but if it was him, he did a phenomenal job. He was talking about Jamie Benn and his awareness, and not necessarily when the play is going on, but in the face-off circle. I think he got a warning or something in the face-off circle. And it looked like he was going to come out of the face-off and let someone else take it. But he's like, no, guys, don't worry about it. I got it. And he told whoever was on his wing to expect the pass, or expect the face-off to come to him. But right before he went down, he looked back at Klingberg like that. And then that was like the subtle nod to Klingberg that it's coming back to you. And it did. And they got a shot. Like, just small little things like that. Mm-hmm. And that's why, to me, he's one of the best captains in the league, if not the best captain in the league. He'll hit, he'll fight, he'll score, he'll pass. He'll do little stuff like that. So, like, that was phenomenal. And I guess the frustrating part about this channel is there's little things like that I'd like to show. Like, I want to show that clip that I just described, but we can't, which is frustrating. But kudos to NBC, or I think it was NBC and Pierre Maguire, unfortunately. But
that's fine.
Kudos to them for catching that.
If we're going to be honest about when people screw up and we hit them, when they do well,
absolutely,
we shouldn't feel bad about saying that they did a great job.
That's true.
So
Yeah,
that's cool.
Good job, Pierre Maguire. And Binnington, you didn't get to see his temper the other game. He kind of lost his marbles a little bit. He was.
Right.
if you look back at the previous series, I think he won a game, or St. Louis won a game in Winnipeg, or maybe it was in St. Louis. It doesn't matter. He won, and he went straight off the ice. He was like, focused to the next game.
Yeah. Don't congratulate me on the ice now, guys.
Yeah.
Let's get in the dressing room.
So he's like very level-headed, not very emotional, but not last game, but the game before, extremely emotional, trying to start some conflict. He even, had some words for Bishop when they were going off the ice together after a period. Even slashed like the boards next to.
I did see the replays of that.
Yeah. So that's very unlike Binnington. However, both of those goalies do like to fight. So while Binnington, for the most part of the season, has played pretty calm, we kind of know there's a demon inside him. And same with Bishop. He's known to chuck some knuckles as well. So.
And I know we're going to do this series by series, but Grubauer got a little uppity with Thornton last night, so we'll get to that.
Yeah, he did. I like that.
That was great. It was awesome. Yeah.
Did you see all Lindell's embellishment?
No, I did not.
Oh man, this sucks because I really want to talk about it, but
you can still talk about it.
I know.
I'm sure they saw.
Okay, so there was basically 3 cross checks. One might have been 20% of an embellishment.
Is this behind the net?
Yeah.
I think I might have seen it.
And then there's 2 more, and the other 2,
the
third one wasn't really a cross check because he was facing him, but it was like 95% embellishment. It was pathetic. And then at the end of the game, when Maroon scored the goal, Lindell went down very, very easy for that goal. Again, I think maybe about 20 to 30% embellishment there. And it was very obvious. And I'm a little surprised that he didn't apologize after the game, because usually players do that if their embellishments are pretty noticeable. And if he did, I didn't see it, so maybe he did, I don't know. But I didn't see anything, and I looked for something, and I watched his interview the other night in between games, and he didn't say anything. So maybe he doesn't feel bad about it, I don't know. But it does not put Dallas in a good spotlight, and that's bad for me because I like Dallas, so no more of that. And Don Cherry wasn't happy with that either. So.
Oh, well there.
Jason Spezza, as much as I dislike Jason Spezza.
Where'd he come from?
He has been an absolute clutch player in
what a
this
beast.
series specifically.
What a beast.
He was a healthy scratch for the first 2 games of the playoffs. In this series, he has scored very, very important goals and won very important faceoffs and has really kind of been a leader on the team. So as much as I dislike Jason Spezza, he has been a crucial part of the Dallas Stars for the series. So definitely a little bit of a shout out to him.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas's penalty kill still remains pretty strong. Do you remember what their percentage was in the first round?
I don't.
100%.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we had it.
It's 93.5 right now. So
I'd take that.
Yeah,
anybody would take that.
That's best in the playoffs for the teams remaining. So
wow.
Yeah, pretty good. On St. Louis's side of things, it's not. I mean, you run into a hot goalie sometimes. Bishop was really good, but it's not like they don't have players contributing. Schwartz has, I think, 9 points in 9 games or whatever it is, however many games are up to now. Tarasenko has been kind of hot and cold a little bit. He's scored some nice goals, but I mean, for me, like expectation-wise, there's no one I expect more out of than Tarasenko.
Yeah.
He is their superstar in my opinion. But in these playoffs, I don't think he has been. So I like to see a little bit more from Tarasenko. They need to find more ways to score. I mean, what do you do with Ben Bishop? He's like 6'7", and he's a good goalie. It's not easy to score. I'm not like trying to be too hard on St. Louis here, but they need to find a little bit more depth scoring. And I mean, Ryan O'Reilly is trying to put this team on his back. Like, the man is all over the ice, and he's so even when like things don't go his way, he's so calm. So I really appreciate that. Unlike Nathan McKinnon, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
We will, yeah.
But I really like Ryan O'Reilly. The more I've watched him play since he left Colorado, I actually like him like a lot. Like I watched a lot of Colorado, but I'd never really like noticed him, and I don't know why. But when he went to Buffalo, and now that he's in St. Louis, like he's the player that I recognize on the ice the most. he's positionally so good. He back checks. He does like everything right. He kind of plays like Patrice Bergeron a little bit. So I really like O'Reilly.
That's high praise.
Anything to say on that series?
No.
Would you like to make a prediction for tonight?
I hope you're right, and I hope St. Louis does win and sends it into a Game 7. I think I agree with you. That series deserves to have a Game 7.
Heck yeah.
I think on balance, I would still be preferring St. Louis, but Dallas has played so well, and there's some great stories developing there too, that if Dallas ends up being the contender for the conference final, I could accept that. Yeah.
A little piece of me also wants St. Louis to win the series because I predicted San Jose and St. Louis to meet in the conference finals. And it's looking like that actually might happen if St. Louis wins tonight. All they need to do is win one more game, and then San Jose, all they need to do is win one more game.
It'll
So
confirm your status
we're
as
close.
a hockey genius.
We're close. No. You look at my East if you want to find that out.
Nobody would have predicted what we got in the East.
Anyways, San Jose and Colorado, the next series.
Yeah.
This is, and you watched, I think, some or all of the game last night.
Pretty well all of it. I watched the first 2 periods when it was still going on, and then I finally ran out of gas metabolically, and that was done. So I watched the third period this morning on PVR and enjoyed it very much. But
It was a pretty good game, actually.
It was.
I think the most important player for San Jose is Logan Couture.
He is something else.
Like, he has scored so many important goals. I don't think anyone else in the playoffs for any other team has scored more important clutch goals than Logan Couture. Mm-hmm. And he knows when he needs to score them. In that game where they came back, whatever, he said that's one.
There it is. Yeah.
Like, and he knew he was going to get more. Like, he has that mentality, so it's pretty awesome. Colorado really needs more depth scoring. If you look at McKinnon and Rantanen, they each have 13 points in 10 games. That's pretty good. That's really good. Like, you can't expect Rantanen and McKinnon to carry this team. And that's kind of how it's been for Colorado, unfortunately. But when you're in the playoffs, you do need that depth scoring. And then you look at McKinnon and the frustration on his face and how emotional he gets. And he goes back to the bench and he starts kicking the inside of the boards where he's sitting. And he's an angry guy because he's frustrated. And I don't necessarily blame him. I wish that he wasn't so emotional because I think it maybe makes him look a little bit silly.
Well, it does, and it gives the other teams clues as to what's setting them off, right?
Exactly.
They spotlighted him in one of the between-period shows there last night, and they showed his reaction when someone gives him a bad pass or when something doesn't work out. And you could just see the shoulders slump, and he's like this.
Yeah.
Like, you don't let the other team see that. Don't let your own players see you like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Nothing works out always all the time. You compare him to, let's say, a Connor McDavid, who's roughly the same vintage and has the same degree of responsibility in a team that has struggled in the last several years. You don't see that on Connor McDavid. And you must imagine for sure he must be very frustrated that they haven't surrounded him with equivalent talent.
I would assume that Connor McDavid is more frustrated than McKinnon.
Good point. But you don't see it.
And you don't see it.
You don't see it.
No.
McKinnon, you see everything, and that can be a good thing. But in this case, it's not a good thing.
That's right. And I'm not trying to say that it's a bad thing. I actually really do appreciate his emotion. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I understand his frustration, and I'd likely be the exact same way. I would be just as frustrated if I was Nathan McKinnon. But he needs to control the emotion or guide that emotion in a better place. And I mean, can you really guide it in a better place? He's already got 13 points in 10 games. It's not like he can do any better. He's trying to carry the team on his back. So obviously he's going to be frustrated. But the teammates thing, when someone tries to give him a pass and it was a bad pass or whatever, and he doesn't get it on a stick, and he shows that frustration towards his teammates. Kuznetsov in Washington does that sometimes. Mm. So that can be a little frustrating. That can cause some. That can cause a chemical imbalance within the team. So it's one of those things that you see that you wonder if he wants out, and I don't think he does. There's not a single ounce of me that thinks that McKinnon wants out of Colorado. But when you see that frustration towards teammates, you think you just wonder if he wishes that he was somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Or maybe not so much that he wants out, but he'd rather have other people in.
And that could be it too. Yeah.
But I think San Jose has done a great job of frustrating the best part of his game. Even though he's done well already, they've frustrated his ability to wheel.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that open ice to do what he does better than anyone in the world, which is turn the engines on and just go. They're limiting those opportunities.
Absolutely, and they're doing it with their offense. Like San Jose is so offensively gifted. Like it doesn't matter what line is out there, they can strike you with really, their top 9 forwards and even more than that can go out there and just cycle the puck. So it's not just shutting him down defensively. It's like you're making him play defensive hockey, which is removing him from the offensive zone. So he's having to play a game that he doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to play a defensive role. He wants to play an offensive role. So when we talk about series, like when you do series previews before they start, when I say things, I hope they come true, so it makes me look smart. But most of the time, that's not the case. However, one thing I said for this series was that I think Colorado's going to get really frustrated with San Jose's speed, their offensive ability. I think it's just going to be a little bit too much for them. It's not like Calgary. Luckily, I think what I said was correct there. I said a lot of other incorrect things in that video, but that is one correct thing I said.
I don't remember any of those.
And I think that's been true for the most part. If you watch the games, I mean, San Jose is literally all over Colorado, and this is the team that's put up 50 shots against Calgary 3 games in a row. I think in the previous series. Last night I was watching the game. It was maybe halfway through the third period, 12 minutes left in the game. The shots were 37-17 for San Jose.
At one point, it was 30-something to 11.
Yeah.
Like they had 11 shots for the longest period of time late in the second. It's like, what?
How can you put up 50 shots against Calgary 3 games in a row and then only put 17 up against? It just shows you the offensive capabilities of San Jose.
Yeah.
They're so good at cycling the puck. They're so good at winning battles, and it's unbelievable. Like, think about if San Jose had good defense, or not. Like, obviously they have good defensemen like Burns and even Carlson. Yes, I know, but I mean a truly defensive team like they used to be. Like this team would be so scary. But speaking of Carlson,
yeah,
you know how much negative things I said about Carlson in the last series.
I'm waiting for it.
He's actually been really good this series. Have you noticed that? Like, have any games you've watched?
I did. This last game in particular, he was, and some people are thinking maybe he's not 100% physically.
Yes, I think that's the case.
And maybe that's resolving itself slowly or something because he's in the right place. He can get to the right place, the place he needs to be, whereas maybe he just couldn't get there before. I don't know. But yeah, he's doing better.
I thought
last night's game was great.
I thought he's done a much better job defensively.
Yeah.
He's stopped that pinching. Like he used to pinch so much, and he's still doing it, but not as much. And he's more aware of what's behind him, basically. San Jose has given up a lot less 2-on-1s, a lot less breakaways in this series. And that can go to coaching as well, Peter DeBoer. So good on him for making his defensive core aware.
He did a deep carry in, I think it was in the second last night's game. And he was on the rush. He went all the way in, right into the corner.
Yes.
But the minute he didn't have the puck anymore, he was right out back to the blue line. He scooted right out where he needed to be.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Erik Karlsson of 6 months ago would have done that. He would have stuck around in there.
I don't think the Erik Karlsson of 2 weeks ago would have done that.
Yeah, maybe so.
Anyways, it's good to see him because we know how good Erik Karlsson is. The Erik Karlsson from last series isn't typical Erik Karlsson. That's why we were so frustrated and hard on him, because we know that that's not who he is. So it's good to see his game coming back, and maybe obviously his injury improving or going away. Who knows? But yeah, Hertl's also been really good for San Jose.
He was outstanding.
He's everywhere on the ice, and he's kind of always been like that. I remember his rookie year. I think he scored 4 goals in one game, and one of them was between the legs, and it was awesome. So I've always really liked Hertl. He's always given pretty much 100%. So
Hertl and Couture in particular, they seem to have that. They're obviously having fun, because hockey players don't do this if they don't like it. But they've got this extremely serious way about them right now. Like they're not loosey-goosey. They're just like they seem to be really, really drilled into what they need to do.
Man, I don't know. Did you see the interview last night with Hertl?
No, I didn't know.
He was pretty calm and smiley.
And maybe off the ice he is, but I'm just thinking on the ice, even when he does well, it's okay, back to business.
Couture's like that.
Yeah.
Like he's very, very down to business. Even when he scores goals, like he obviously smiles and stuff, but I mean, he's very like, he knows what needs to be done. So
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. How have you thought, or what do you think about goaltending in this series so far? I think it's been pretty good.
I think it's been really good.
Like Grubauer's been phenomenal. Do you know? Like you probably saw it in last night's broadcast. They actually faced each other, Jones and Grubauer.
Excuse me.
Before
Memorial Cup. Yeah, Grubauer was with the Windsor Spitfires.
Yeah, and they won.
Yeah.
But that's pretty interesting. I mean, this isn't the Stanley Cup Finals, but I mean,
it's big.
it's
the
basically
biggest game that either one of them had ever played.
Yeah.
Up to that point. So yeah,
it's kind of cool when that comes around like that again. But for the most part, I mean, on both sides, goaltending has been fantastic, and I'm happy to say that considering Jones was so inconsistent last series. So I mean, you've got Jones being more consistent, you've got Erik Karlsson being more like the real Erik Karlsson. So things are looking pretty good for San Jose.
Yeah, it's funny what they must know in the dressing room that we can't see out here in our basement, but. Like you said in the last series, if they start Martin Jones tonight, that means they're not serious about winning this series. And I agreed with you 100%.
But they did start Martin
They did
Jones,
start.
and then they won.
And they won. And now he's playing like the Martin Jones.
Exactly. So you're right.
He should be.
They know something in the dressing room that we don't know.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect example of me being wrong. And I'm okay with that.
Now, on the other side, we alluded to it a little while ago, but Grubauer and Thornton get a little shovey-shovey.
I didn't see what caused that. I saw them behind the net.
They didn't go back far enough for me either.
Yeah.
But something happened behind the net, and there was a little pushing and shoving. And anyway, Grubauer ended up getting the penalty, and Thornton skated away.
Yes, he did. So, but I you know what? I like that. I like the fire from Grubauer.
I love it.
He's having a fantastic series, fantastic playoffs. Realistically, if you got average goaltending from Colorado, you probably would have got swept because San Jose's chances are plentiful.
Yeah.
And when at that point last night when I was saying Colorado only had 17 shots, just after that, Jones made 2 unbelievable saves. So even though that Jones isn't getting peppered with shots, maybe he feels a little bit cold. He's still he's still there to make big saves in this series. So
yeah,
I appreciate that. That's all I got to say for this series. I don't have anything else.
I'm good.
All right.
Yep.
Carolina and the Islanders. I don't want to talk too much about the series, and maybe at all, because we're going to film a series recap video probably tomorrow.
Yeah,
if that's okay, or something.
That should
like
be
good. I'd like to do it tomorrow and get it out. Anyway, pretty crazy though. I mean, like we've already kind of talked about it and said it was crazy, but I don't think you can be disappointed with the Islanders. As for like maybe this series a little bit, but as a whole, as a team, I don't know if you can be disappointed. I mean, they've kind of overachieved. They lost their best player. He went on to play for I would say a Stanley Cup contending team, and then you not only finished higher than them in the standings, you made it further than them in the playoffs. You have to be pretty happy with this season. The amazing story of Leonard, bringing the fans like emotion into the storylines of the players, the Nassau Coliseum, that whole storyline.
Do you think Barclays is a curse? The minute they start playing at a Barclays Center, they didn't win after that.
I don't think Barclays. No, I don't think it was a curse, but it wasn't the same. You were right. I was wrong. Like you said, it wasn't going to be the same. It wasn't.
I didn't have the same feeling.
It wasn't the same.
They were good. The fans were good, and they were fairly well engaged in the game. But, yeah, it just didn't have the same pizzazz.
Who were the louder fans in the series?
I don't know if I saw a Carolina game, a home game.
Oh, yeah, you might have been away.
I think I might have seen one.
It was so loud.
Yeah.
They were as loud, I think, as the Islanders were in the Nassau Coliseum.
And that's a great story.
It is. It's a great story.
It's a huge story, and they're owning the bunch of jerks.
Oh yeah,
they bought into it, and they're going to use that and go with it.
Heck yeah,
good for them.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
and I've
great.
taken a poo poo on them about that stuff, and really they got it right.
Hashtag poo poo. Yeah, honestly, I wanted the Islanders to win, but I'm not disappointed that Carolina won. I'm pretty happy for them. I will cheer for Carolina hardcore, regardless of who they have to play, whether that's Boston or Columbus.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I will definitely cheer for them hardcore if Boston ends up being the opponent. With Columbus, it'll be more 50-50. I probably will still prefer Carolina to win, but I'd be quite okay if Columbus went all the way.
The only reason that I wanted Columbus to do well is because if they didn't do well, number one, if they didn't make the playoffs or if they got swept by Tampa, all the risks that they took at the trade deadline would probably make future GMs less likely to make big risks like that.
Yeah.
But if Columbus does well, and we can probably say that they have already done well.
Oh, yeah.
They made the playoffs. They destroyed Tampa. They're being super competitive against Boston. Even if they do get eliminated, you can kind of see that as a bit of a success. So that's where it kind of ends for me. Like I would be happy to see Columbus move on to the finals. I wouldn't be disappointed if they beat Carolina, but I am definitely cheering for Carolina. Mm-hmm. I think their story is better.
Yeah,
it's a little like Don Cherry talked about this yesterday about fans showing up now because the team's doing good, but where were they 2 years ago? So I understand that mentality and that what he's trying to say, but I don't understand discouraging the growth of a sport. Like, why wouldn't you want, like, why are you complaining about there being more fans in the stadium? Like, the game is growing in that area of the world. Mm-hmm. How is that a bad thing? Like, this is what we want as a sport, as fans, to grow the game. So
it's like that whole discussion a year or more ago on this program, not the podcast necessarily, but on Post to Post, about the bandwagon effect. And, oh, you're just a bandwagoner.
Yes.
I totally reject all that. I don't care why if someone's at the rink or why they're cheering for the team or how long they've been cheering for the team. If they're cheering for the same team I'm cheering for, let's go.
Yeah.
I really could care less. I don't want to have to interview them and get their entire history to see if they're good enough to be a fan.
Yeah.
That's crap.
I agree. Like, it's all about growing the sport. Like,
yep.
that's one of the reasons why I started the channel as well, is to talk about and raise awareness and to talk about other leagues around the world. And mm-hmm. because here in North America we're pretty secluded. We don't really hear a lot about the SHL and the IHL in Australia and EIHL in England and all that stuff. So it's good to raise awareness and to grow the sport and to grow the game and stuff. And I think that seeing that happen in Carolina, maybe it lasts 2 years, maybe 3 years, and mm-hmm. attendance goes back to crap. That would be unfortunate, but at least for those 2 or 3 years, some of those fans got to experience and learn about a new game, a new sport. So
yeah, I'm not at all concerned about new fans joining. I'm a bit concerned about fans leaving.
Yes.
But then again, if fans don't leave, then the team who is underachieving with a full arena every night has no incentive to achieve higher.
That's true.
So maybe a fan leaving is just saying, look, I'm going to put you in the penalty box right here.
Well, look at Ottawa.
Yeah.
There are fans specifically boycotting games on TV as well. Mm-hmm. Even they're going to that extreme because of Eugene Melnyk.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to support Eugene Melnyk in any way. They don't want their ticket, the cash that they pay for tickets, to go into his pocket.
Or even be something that he can take credit for, even if he didn't see a cent of it.
Yeah.
Like, I've been filling the rink every night. Mm-hmm. If he's able to say that,
yep.
then it looks good for him, and it shouldn't.
And on the opposite side of the coin, I think there's fans in Carolina going to games, maybe not now, but this year, because of the new owner.
Yeah.
He brought back a bit of youth in the organization. He wanted to celebrate their heritage with Hartford, and now we had that third Hartford jersey, which is amazing. They had a whole night dedicated to their history there. The whole Storm Surge thing there, he's okay with that. And he's a pretty modern guy, a pretty modern owner. So that stuff raises awareness, which creates new fans, which in turn basically means that there are probably a lot of new Carolina Hurricanes fans that learn about Carolina or the team because of positive things that the owner has done. So they are fans because of the owner in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's it can play a huge factor of who owns a team, whether you're Melnick or I don't remember his name, the guy in Carolina. I'm not good with owners' names. I always forget them.
I'm not either. Is it Schwartz?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Sorry.
I feel like it starts with a B, but whatever.
Bortz.
Boris.
Boris and Natasha.
Anyways, that we'll save the majority of our analysis for specific Carolina Islanders video. Columbus, Boston. Now I would assume you listened to this game on the radio last night.
I did. I listened to the game on the radio on the way home from the Boston market.
Yes.
Essentially, I was in Manchester, New Hampshire. More about the trip later, but we were right in the Boston local market. Boston radio on the radio. Boston on all the signs. Boston this way, 20 miles away or whatever. Couldn't watch the game on TV.
That's crazy.
On Thursday night. Couldn't watch the game. It was not available on the cable. So that game, I just had to watch my phone to see what the score was as it would change. But Saturday night's game, yes. I listened to it using my phone, feeding Bluetooth into the car. I listened to it on the Boston Sports Radio Network and heard it all.
It's a good game.
It sounded great.
The last half of the game was better than the first half.
Oh, wow, yeah.
But, Boston went up 2-0, and then you had that controversial goal from Columbus, which probably would have been a weird thing to listen to. And you already told me the bias of the,
oh my goodness.
the Boston announcers.
Real homers, but they're supposed to be, so I'm not complaining about it.
But that would have been thinking back to that play, it would have been weird to only, try and, to listen to that commentary just audibly and not be able to see what actually happened. That probably would have been maybe a little frustrating for you.
It is, but the guys that are on the radio, they're seeing the replay on video, so you hear them talk like, oh, I don't know, Bob, or whatever,
Yeah.
Look there. So they're talking about something I can't see.
Yeah.
But I can almost see it the way they're talking about it. They did a pretty good job.
Oh, good.
But it was funny because at one point, it's inconclusive. It has to be conclusive. The call on the ice was no goal. It has to be overly conclusive for it to be a goal. So I think this is going to be no goal. Wait a minute. And at one point, then he said, well, we're only seeing the NBC feed. Hockey Night in Canada is here from Canada. Maybe they have other video that we can't see, and maybe the NHL is using some angle that we don't have, but I still don't think it's a goal. I never saw it cross the line. You can see the puck kind of disappear, and you can see the line, but you can't see the puck across the line, and I don't think it's going to be a goal. Oh, wait a minute. And then, of course, and it wasn't Wes McCauley who made the announcement, but he was doing the game last night. It was the other guy.
Yeah.
And my apologies. And, of course, we have a good goal. And so it was a good goal. And, of course, they were talking about the Panarin goal that had hit the net in the previous game.
Yes.
And got counted. So these guys are butthurt a little bit by the fact that they're getting mashed by these rules. And, a good 10 or 15 minutes later, they were talking about how the game had evolved because it was 2-0, then 2-1, then 3-1, then 3-2, then 3-3. And when they went back to talk about that first Columbus goal, Columbus scored a goal at whatever, and although it never crossed the line that we could see.
They just had to throw it back in there.
They just had to throw it back in. But it was entertaining. It looked like it would have been a great game to watch.
It was a really good game, a really, really good game. They made the right call. That puck was across the line, but it was painstaking just to sit there and because it took 7 or 8 minutes for them to decide, which is fine, I guess. It's just
if they're going to get it right, it's worth it, I guess.
Actually, I want to have a conversation a little bit about reviews later, but kudos to Boston for not losing focus in that game because you're up 2-0, you get a questionable goal against you, it's 2-1. Boom, you come right back and you make it 3-1. Resilience.
Yeah.
And then boom, 3-2, 3-3. Oh, dang. What happens? Resilience. Boston makes it 4-3. So kudos to the players for not losing sight and to proving that, Bobrovsky's in net. He's one of the best goalies in the NHL, if not the best. Doesn't mean we can't score some more goals on him, and that's what they did. So, and that was an important game.
It was.
Very important game.
It just turns out that when the San Jose, Colorado recording started last night, there was a bit of the Boston game still on the very beginning of that. So I already knew how it ended, and I already knew what happened, but I heard them talking about Marchand making a bad attempt to clear in the last minute with Columbus and the goalie
Okay.
pulled. And Marchand had the puck. He just whiffed on it, never got past the blue line, and Columbus maintained their offensive pressure. Ultimately not scoring, but I knew that had happened. So when I got home, I watched that play just to see if it was the way I imagined it from listening to the radio. It was exactly as I imagined it. It was really good.
They did a good job
They
then.
did a great job.
Awesome.
Yeah. I don't know who the broadcasters are on the radio, but they were awesome. And interestingly, if NBC carried the game, and they would have, it would have been their crew. Would not have been Jack Edwards and Andy Brickley, right? So I don't know what they were doing last night for work,
Yeah.
but maybe they were just sitting watching the game and enjoying it for a change, which would be a nice night off for them.
Yeah, for sure.
But probably once Nesson is not involved in the playoffs, they're probably out because the radio guys would probably continue their radio stuff, right?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think they might be in the arena in some fashion or something like that. But yeah, I think that's probably. I don't know. Does Jack Edwards get promoted to NBC eventually
I don't.
for Boston games? I don't think so.
I don't think so. No, because
He's too biased.
oh yeah, he's the home broadcaster.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be that way, and I think that's what Boston fans want. They want him on Nesson doing the home thing.
NBC knows that they can't. NBC knows that they cannot hire Jack Edwards to do Boston games. Like,
I would think. I would
Anyways.
think. To an earlier game in the series, and this is something that I watched before I left, but it was Brad Marchand's punch on the back of the head of
yes,
I forget who the player was. But,
Yeah, I don't remember either.
yeah, but when it happened, I saw it happen live,
Yeah.
because the angle they gave us, thank goodness for a change, it showed that play, but they didn't talk about it right away. They didn't talk about it for quite some time, and then they came back from a commercial break, and then they had the punch from some different angle, and then it became an item of debate and topic
Yes.
later on. But yeah, that just, oh man, that bothers me, that stuff.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you think that should have been a suspension?
No, but it should have been a fine.
I think so too. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, I
Well-
think a lot of people thought it should have been a suspension.
Yeah, it wasn't that hard.
It wasn't that hard.
It was more like
It
one
was
of these.
it was stupid. It was stupid. It was to the head. They're trying to remove that stuff. It was not only was it to the head, it was from behind.
Mm-hmm.
It was really dirty and stupid. I don't think it was hard enough for a suspension. I think it was just a little rough play.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a fine because you can't do that stuff.
You can't do that stuff, and the league can't let that stuff go unpunished in some way.
Yeah.
Even if they don't suspend somebody, they condemn it. They have to condemn it.
And that's what it's about. It's not about taking $5,000 from Brad Marchand. That's literally nothing to him. It's about the exposure of the fine to the rest of the league. It's about having that on his rap sheet when he does something else in the future
Exactly.
to look back on.
And he will.
And he will. And he's already, like, there's been things that Brad Marchand has done that's probably suspension worthy, definitely fine worthy in the past, not including this. So if you add those things to the list, and then you add this to the list of a fine, like his rap sheet's already big, but if you add those up, other couple of things, it's a pretty serious rap sheet. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed that he didn't get a fine for that hit, but I agree with you, no suspension.
Yeah, no suspension. And Boston, and he showed again last night why they need to have him out there every game.
Oh, he was crucial in that game.
He was fantastic.
Boston doesn't win that game last night without Brad Marchand.
No, exactly. And
then maybe that's some of the debate.
Maybe.
Maybe he should have been suspended, and that was a Columbus win last night. I don't know.
because Columbus came back in the third period and showed that they were in that game. They tied it, and they were moving.
Yeah.
They were moving until that fourth goal.
I think biased Neil says, yeah, that should have been a suspension, and Columbus won last night. But I think trying to be unbiased and realistic, I can't see that being a suspension. I don't know. It just wasn't hard enough.
That's where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he did it in plain sight. He wasn't, didn't look both ways and give someone the spear. Like
It wasn't in a scrum in between a bunch of players. It was out in the open.
Yeah.
He knew he was on camera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He
Anyways,
just needs to smarten up.
what he should have done is take the bottom of the helmet and lift it up, and so the helmet goes over the just to troll him,
Or just
basically.
rub him on the top of the head.
or something that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Or lick the guy. I don't know.
yeah,
Whatever.
Have you noticed all the penalties in this series?
Yeah.
It's just been one big constant power play, I feel, in this whole series. Like Josh Anderson, specifically for Columbus, has taken so many stupid penalties. It's really frustrating, and I'm not even a Columbus fan. And not only penalties, but penalties in the offensive zone. He's got 22 penalty minutes.
Wow.
so far in the playoffs, and they've all been like ridiculous. Well, not all of them, but I would say at least half of them have been just real stupid offensive zone penalties.
And that's almost 2 minors a game at that rate.
He's
right?
always in the box. Like he's a big guy. He likes to play physical.
Yeah.
Those aren't the penalties that frustrate me. It's the holds and the hooks in the offensive zone. It's the stupid stuff like that, the trips. And anyways, he needs to wrangle himself in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I would say goaltending has been pretty good in this series for the most part. Tuukka Rask, I thought, made some unbelievable saves last night in last night's game. But then there's some goals, and you're like, really? You let that in, but you saved that other one? Like, I would say 97% of the time, goaltending's been really good in the series. And then there's been some questionable goals on both sides.
Yeah.
Not just for Rask, with Bobrovsky too. So a little tiny bit inconsistent with goaltending in this series, but that may have been predictable with Rask. But anyway, constant battles in this series. We already talked about that, I think, in the last podcast. Lots of just puck battles along the boards, and I think this has been the most physical series in the second round. So, it's been good hockey to watch. It's good to see players battle and stuff. But
yeah.
That's all I have to say about that series.
Did you see Tortorella's media availability after the game last night?
No, I did not.
He's sitting there because he has to, and he's got that look. He's got that Tortorella look on his face, like he'd rather be anywhere else. He'd rather be getting a tooth pulled with no Novocaine than sit there in front of the media after a game like that. And one of the reporters, I didn't recognize his voice. It wasn't Brooksy because he's not in New York anymore, but some reporter kept asking him pretty stupid questions. They were like, Torts, what do you think gave you that surge in the third period? Do you think do you think the team got anything out of that or something like that? And he looked at him and said, "What do you think?" and then he said, "Do you think the third period gives the team something like for next game? What do you think? Do you think the team only played in the third period, or what did we need?" No, we got good players. He said, we got good players. They just need to play. We got lots of good players, but we need them to play.
Oh.
And then finally, he looked right at the reporter and said, "Stop asking me stupid questions." He just said it right to him.
That's awesome.
And I loved it. Because the questions were stupid. Just like all the questions they ask all the players between periods.
Hockey interviews are the worst.
With the towel over their shoulder, you
Yeah.
know. And, we got to get pucks deep. And jeez. Anyway, and then Tortorella just got up and walked out. He just stood up and gone. It's like, yes.
He did an interview the other day. I think it was maybe like 3 or 4 days ago. And he was being asked questions and stupid questions. And he was just one-word answers. Nope. Yep. Nope. That was it. It was awesome.
They asked him, one of the reporters, maybe the same guy, said, "So do you think you're going to be back here for Game 7? "Oh, yeah." "Why do you think that?" "Because we're going to win. We're going to win.
Boom.
We're going to win."
Wow.
And that's when he walked out.
Huh.
It was great.
Good exit.
Yeah. Boom. If he had a mic to drop, he would have just dropped it.
Boom. Okay. I have some rumors to talk about.
Ooh, okay.
Have you heard any rumors? You don't really follow rumors that much.
Not really, although I do watch, like when Lyle Richardson posts something in Spectre's Hockey, he'll usually cover the main rumors and have a little discussion. Occasionally, when I have time, I read those.
All right. Well, I have 3 rumors, and I usually don't like to talk about rumors unless the specific rumor's been talked about for an extended period of time. So the first one, Malkin. There's been Malkin rumors out there for probably about 3 weeks now. It's gaining a lot of momentum on Twitter by recognized people. So he's been linked with Vancouver, apparently. I don't know if that's true. Obviously, that's why it's a rumor. But we may see Malkin leaving Pittsburgh. I personally don't think it'll happen, but it's out there. The second one I have is a pretty legitimate case. It's not even a rumor at this point. It's almost true. Looks like Ken Holland is going to Edmonton to be their next GM.
Okay.
Elliot was talking about this last night on Sportsnet. It's not for sure. By the time that you guys see or listen to this, it might already be done. So that's how close they are, apparently, to getting things done in Edmonton. And he will be their new GM. And with that comes the third rumor that if Ken Holland goes to Edmonton as their GM, then Dave Tippett will be hired as their new head coach. I don't know the truth behind that one, but that's the secondary rumor that I've heard for Edmonton. So I actually don't. I like the Ken Holland one. I do really like Ken Holland. He's made some mistakes, unfortunately, and stuff, but I do like him. But I don't like Dave Tippett.
Is that right?
Yes, I'm going to make a bold prediction right now. If Dave Tippett goes and coaches in Edmonton, he, number one, doesn't last more than 3 years, and they miss the playoffs 2 out of the 3 years.
Boys,
Boom.
You heard it here.
And if I'm wrong, feel free to replay that clip over and over again.
Call your bookie.
And I will apologize. But that's my prediction.
Wow. Okay. We'll see how that goes.
Anyway, so let's circle back a little bit. Reviewable plays.
Right.
There's 2 plays to talk about. Number one is that puck that maybe crossed the line. We know it crossed the line, but we don't conclusively probably know that it crossed the line. So how do we fix that? What's the solution?
The solution, I think, is something that they're already working on, which is a sensor in the puck itself.
Like a sensor in the puck. So that means you probably need a sensor under the ice where the line is.
Either that or somehow in the structure of the post and the crossbar.
So say we use that tech for 4 years.
Yeah.
Works good.
Yeah.
What happens if it fails during a playoff game?
Oh, my goodness, I don't know what we're going to do.
Well, that's like, if we're going to use that technology and we have expectations of it always working, what happens when it doesn't work? How big of a news story is that going to be when that technology fails in the most important time in a playoff game?
Well, it'll obviously be part of the story, but do
you think it would go back to removing the technology?
No.
I don't think so either, but I can see the argument.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's already arguments on too many reviews and too many wasteful times and long, protracted 7-minute phone conversations with headphones on and looking at iPads and everything else.
Yep.
And Brian Burke made the point last night about that in one of the intermissions. He said the people they really need to worry about are the people that are buying the tickets and sitting in the seats and paying the money to see a game that lasts that doesn't go past 3 hours long. And now, you know me, I have all kinds of ideas that they can adopt to shorten the game up. So, but
I understand it.
Yeah.
I don't care how long the game is. I just want things to be right.
Exactly.
So Elliot Friedman that's basically his exact feeling on everything. He doesn't care how long it's going to be. He just wants the play to be right.
Yeah.
But where's the line? If a review is 15 minutes long, is that acceptable?
No. No, it's not.
We've had 10-minute reviews.
We have, and we've had double reviews.
We've had double reviews.
We've had the review as did the puck cross the line? Yep. Yes, we determined it did. Okay, now I want a review on whether there was goaltender interference.
Yep.
And then they go back to look at the same video again.
There was a 9-minute review 2 years ago in Pittsburgh, and that's in that scenario.
Please.
So where's the line? When does it become not okay to get things right? Because you can't put a time limit on it.
You can't. I have a pretty high threshold for that, frankly. 9 minutes, it's a long, long time, but it's still useful if it's going to be right. So I don't care.
I agree. I would even say for regular season games, I don't care as much. Mm-hmm. But for playoff games, if that review needs to take 17 minutes, you take 17 minutes to get it right because you need the correct calls in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So if we go to the other controversial one, when the puck hit the netting, do you think that should be reviewable?
Actually, I think it should. And that's the problem I have with some plays being reviewable and some plays not being reviewable. And
that's where this conversation leads.
Yeah. If something happens that would ordinarily have blown the play dead, such as an offside that wasn't caught, or a puck hitting the net that wasn't caught, or a puck that rides up into the bench and hits a player on the bench and then back out real quick that wasn't caught, then that needs to be caught and it needs to be reviewable. That's what I think.
I completely agree. I don't know how that's not reviewable.
Yeah.
Like
who decided that?
how is it? Like if the puck goes up and hits the scoreboard, but you don't know it hit the scoreboard, but you kind of do. Can you review and that leads to a goal? Can you review that? Is that going to be included into the net conversation? Like when they implement this new rule where you can review a net play, because I think that's because of the situation. That's what they're going to do next year. Mm-hmm. They're already talking about it apparently. What if it hits the scoreboard? Are you going to have to make another rule for this? Not that happens ever, but it has happened. But
the one that, and this is where I'm a bit conflicted. There's too many offside reviews now, I think. Now I don't know how you stop it. I don't know what you do, but there's not. I say too many, but they seem to be excessive, and I don't know if it's a big deal. I don't know if offside's a huge deal, because if offside is called or not called, it's usually by an inch.
So you're close enough.
You're close enough. So if you're close enough, then just keep playing. Like it's.
I think I disagree with that.
Yeah.
I like to see offside reviews. My biggest problem with offside reviews is we have a potato filming the line on each side. Like this is 2019, and you're using a camera from 2004. Like you can admit that the quality is pretty
terrible.
Poop, right?
Yeah.
Like it is garbage.
Now, if you had a sensor in the puck, you could run some sort of wire underneath, or like a transponder in the puck. You could run a sensor.
Yeah, but what about
under
skates?
The blue line?
What if a skate's lifted or whatever?
No, well, that's just dumb. I don't care if they have to go what football does. The plane.
So you don't want elevation to be a factor. You want plane.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because in football, basketball, you can be out of bounds as long as you haven't touched the ground.
Yes.
You can throw that ball back in. Or in football, if you break the plane of the goal line, even if you land out of bounds, and you don't even really go over the cone,
okay,
it still counts. I would be cool with that.
So if someone was, we'll say, 2.5 feet inside the zone, and they've got their back leg literally right up like a ballerina, a Superman, and it's pointing all straight back at 90 degrees. Both legs.
I'm cool with that.
One leg is at 90 degrees. You're okay with that?
It'll certainly eliminate a lot of replays.
You know what? I actually agree with that.
Yay!
Because it does. It eliminates a lot of replays.
Yep.
But does the stick count?
No.
I agree. The stick should not. You could be at the face-off dot. No, yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're someone like Chara.
Yeah, exactly.
You could be laying down. Your feet could be on the red line beside the goal and get your stick at the blue line.
Yeah, no. Yeah. The NHL definitely has some things to fix and to figure out, and they're testing these technologies, and half the reason they're implementing these technologies and making these decisions is because of all the statistics that are coming our way. Because soon you're going to be able to bet on those statistics in Vegas, which is cool, I guess. But it's all about money in a way.
That's all.
Because the NHL, they're spending money to implement this technology, but they're doing it halfly to make money, to be honest. And it's for the fans, and we get to see all the stuff, and it's going to be cool to see what Sportsnet and TSN and NBC does with all this information and how they display it on the screens and stuff. It is going to be cool, but let's not kid ourselves. It's about the money, too.
Totally.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see all this new technology come in the next 5 to 10 years for the NHL, or really maybe 1 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how soon they're going to implement it. I thought it was going to be next year maybe, but yeah. Sorry, I meant to mention something back on that first review. I heard someone saying that there's technology available, that you don't need technology in the posts or the net, that you need technology in the puck, and there's something that you lay underneath the ice that's it's basically a sensor, and it senses when the puck is it's almost like a scan, or when you go to scan a paper or whatever. It's almost like that. So it knows, it looks up basically. If you could picture it as a camera looking up, like underwater when you look at the surface of water. It's kind of like that apparently. That's all I know. I don't know what that technology is, but someone was talking about it. So
Yeah, I don't either. I guess we don't have a puck handy, which is odd. There'd be a lot of them around. But the only thing I'm worried about is you can't just plant a sensor in the middle of the puck or a chip, an ID chip in the middle of the puck, and expect that will tell you the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the puck crosses the goal line so that the sensor crosses, but the rest of the puck doesn't, under today's rules, that's not a goal.
Because you need to see that white in between the red and the puck.
But if that same puck and the sensor itself was on edges across the blue line, it would be a goal.
Yes.
Because the entire puck is across. So they need to make sure they solve that. But if they do, I'm down.
They almost need like a ribbon that goes on the inside of the puck around the outside.
It has to be the whole perimeter so that the entire puck will have crossed and they can verify that.
And like this is tough because you're affecting the weight and balance of a puck when you implement stuff inside the puck. Like, I mean, a regular puck is just solid rubber.
Yeah, it would have to be done in a neutral way so that it actually works and doesn't upset the physics of the game.
And then it's not about weight either. It's about structural integrity of the puck.
Yeah. You get someone that can rifle that thing at 105 miles an hour. Is that technology surviving inside?
Yeah. Is it trustworthy?
Yeah. That's what the AHL is for.
That's true. Yeah. Good luck, AHL. Anyways, that's all I have to talk about for today, actually. So if you want to talk about your trip or tell us a little bit where you were and what you were doing, then that'd be awesome.
First off, tell me why you're wearing Detroit today.
I just like red.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a message.
No, usually I do, so good question. But no, today I just wanted to wear red. I have a red shirt on that I was going to wear for mail time, but we're not going to do that. So we'll do that tomorrow maybe or something like that, or whenever you're feeling better.
Yeah.
So expect that later this week.
I feel physically fine, but I just can't talk very much.
We'll make this trip recap quick then.
Oh, it'll
save yourself.
It will be. It's something I noticed watching the last couple of Boston games, and I also noticed it last night in San Jose. And this is a compliment I'm about to pay to their fans. Next time you watch a game in the TD Garden, and there will be some, I think the way things are, well, there's going to have to be at least one, even if Boston wins out, right? So if Boston beats Columbus in Columbus, then they're going to play at least two more.
One more.
At least if Boston beats Columbus in Columbus, they're going to play at least two more home games, right, in the third round. In some arenas where there's so much of this glass banging, there's not hardly any in the TD Garden.
Yeah.
They don't bang in the glass, and San Jose doesn't have much either.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I just think maybe they have a better class of fan in the first row. That's what I'm going with. I like it.
Glass bangers are really annoying.
I hate glass bangers because the vibrations go up. The microphones that capture the play are usually attached to the top of the glass. So when you do, it's actually transmitting right through that microphone. So rather than hearing the cut of the skate and the carving and the puck and the slap shots and the whistles and even the chatter, you're hearing thunk, 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 thunk with some idiot banging on the glass.
Montreal's got some glass banging idiots.
Terrible.
So does Toronto.
Yeah.
Vegas does.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. Probably not too many in the Barclays Center because the fans can't get close to them.
That's right.
But we won't have to worry about that anymore. And I just thought I'd say, congratulations, Boston and San Jose. You're doing something right by keeping some of those glass banging fools away from your glass.
Oh.
There. I do just want to rant a little bit about the lack of hockey availability in the hotel I was at. It's a chain standard hotel. It's a nice place. We're totally in the Boston sports market. I Instagrammed a picture of myself at the Walmart nearby.
Boston jerseys in the background.
Yeah, and it said, teams or something like that, plural. There's only one team there, boys. There's only one team, and it ain't mine. But anyway, it was just Boston stuff everywhere, and as it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
But on TV that night, they have 2 or 3 different ESPN channels. They have maybe a Fox Sports channel. They have NESN. None of them are showing the hockey.
Showing basketball, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basketball everywhere.
Playoffs are going on, so.
Yeah, and baseball. A lot of baseball, too.
Yeah,
the Red Sox are playing, so they were on one of the channels. It was like, you have a team. Like, for all of this, I don't blame the hotel. I don't blame the cable company. I blame the NHL and NBC for having a
monopoly on the games.
well, having a monopoly, NBC wins the contract to show this game, and then they stick it on a sports channel that not everybody has.
Exactly, yeah.
Show it on the main network.
Exactly.
If
I completely agree.
If it's not good enough to show it on the main network, why'd you bid on it?
Yeah, exactly.
See ya.
Don't, especially in that market.
Exactly.
Because you want to watch the game.
Yeah.
And there's other people who want to watch the game, but they can't.
Yeah.
And then and stuff like that forces people to go online and look at these sites where you're not supposed to look for these games and watch them illegally, which the NHL doesn't want, and these big networks like Sportsnet don't want. If you don't want us watching illegal sports on channels that we can't get because you don't give them to us, what do you want us to do?
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
Freaking scrubs.
Get with the program. So that's a little rant. Trip was great. It was fast. They're always too fast. I think I'm going to start slowing down the Saturday return.
Mm-hmm.
I left here Wednesday afternoon, about 3 o'clock, 3:15. Got into Fredericton Wednesday night, spent the night there. Thursday morning, bright and early, off to Manchester. From Fredericton, it's about an 8-hour drive, so it's not too bad. So we get down late afternoon into Manchester after a couple of stops, checked in the hotel, did a little bit of shopping, kicked around, and then really all of Thursday night and all of Friday night, the 4 guys just hanging out in the room. Mm-hmm. We ordered pizza both nights and had a few wobbly pops and just shot the breeze because we get together like this twice a year and had a great time. But then Saturday's a long haul, and especially when you're not feeling good, and I wasn't. So it's a long drive. We left Manchester left Deerfield about 11:15 or 11:30, and I was home 11 hours later.
Yeah, you were.
And that includes stopping at Canada Customs, going in and paying money because we had too much. We had more than we were allowed.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't my stuff. I was picking stuff up for other people.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not going to take the fall for that. No way.
So you didn't have to pay, but
I had to pay, but I'm going to get the money back when I deliver the product. One lady that works with me.
The product is like drugs.
Yeah. Just call me Dime Bag Daryl. One lady ordered. She has a hobby. She's a collector. It doesn't really matter what she collects, but it's legit.
I'm kind of interested. Is it weird stuff like sex toys or something?
Goodness, no.
What is it?
Dolls.
Dolls. Sex dolls?
No. No, real dolls. I don't know.
Cabbage Patch Kids?
I didn't open it. Cabbage Patch Kids weren't dolls. They were soft, plushy.
Creepy.
Yeah, creepy.
Creepy AF.
No, these are, it came from a company called American Girl. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's funny, it became a joke.
You have to go back to these customs with this American doll.
American box, one of the boxes.
American Girl.
Is about this long, about that height, and it says American Girl.
That is awkward.
But they didn't look in the vehicle. I was fully disclosing of all the value of everything.
I would not do that.
But she actually had 2 boxes. One was, I think, one of the actual dolls, but the big box, I think, was a house or some sort of display case or something. I don't know. Don't laugh.
I'm not laughing at the fact that someone collects dolls and houses. I'm laughing at the fact that you had to go through customs with all of this stuff as a almost 60-year-old man.
I'm a friendly guy. But I was telling my work or my social buddies when I'm down there that I have to go back across the border with dolls or doll paraphernalia, and it says American Girl on the box. And, of course, the conversation turned to whether they're inflatable or not.
Exactly. Yes, the same thought that I had.
Because you're a pig.
Oh, whatever.
You're a pig. I don't know where you get that.
I'm funny.
You're funny, man. Anyway, all's well that ends well. I didn't get strip searched at the border, and but that would have been fine. There's things I won't bring across for people. I will not bring tobacco across for someone else.
I would not do that either.
Totally against it.
What liquor? Beer?
Well, I will occasionally if I'm getting low, and I don't drink hardly at all. So if I bring 24 beer back, that's going to last me a long, long time. I think I have 21 or 22 in the fridge right now that I brought back in October. They're probably not even good anymore, but it's so cheap. You can buy 24 beer for $19 or something. Why wouldn't you? Anyway, I don't need any liquor, but we have a friend who likes a certain brand, and it's hard to get up here unless you consign your car and your firstborn child to the liquor store, so they'll give you a bottle because it's so expensive. But down there at the New Hampshire liquor store on the traffic circle in Portsmouth, brand new and improved, by the way, go in there and get it for a pretty good price. So I got a bottle for a friend.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive here. I don't drink, so that's not where my money goes. But I have obviously friends that drink, and if you want to buy some beer up here, it's stupid expensive. So look out for that if you plan on visiting. Yeah,
it's like $2 or more for a beer, and that's not even in the. If you go to a bar and get a beer, it's at least $5 or $6.
Yeah, it's like $5 or $6. Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's just for ordinary Milwaukee or Colorado-based beer. This is not, your fancy stuff. Your Corona or your Heineken.
So your next trip is in October?
My next trip down there will be in October. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Hope to go down there then again. It was great.
So you haven't mentioned your shirt yet.
Oh, yeah. Should get that out of the way so people can read.
I don't know if you guys can see. I probably can. It says, May the Morse be with you.
May the Morse be with you.
So, do you want to tell?
Well, yesterday was May the 4th.
Yes.
May the 4th be with you. That's commonly said this weekend. And I found this T-shirt on display and for sale down at the ham radio flea market that I was at. So may the Morse be with you.
So for the people who don't know what that is, explain.
Well, this thing at the bottom is a Morse code key.
That should. If you don't, okay. For people who don't know what Morse code is.
Morse code is the first form of digital communication, where back in the days when radio and telegraph couldn't transmit people's voices, they did texting.
Yeah,
essentially. They did texting, and the text characters, the A, B, C, D, were sent via Morse code.
Yeah, dots and dashes.
Dots and dashes. And it was received at the other end, and somebody would transcribe the message, and there's the text.
Yeah, so each letter, like, what's A?
Da-da. Dot dash.
Yeah, so, like, I don't know if you do, like, Morse code, so you just know it in your head, but there's, like, maps that has A, and then it tells you what it is, so people receiving it can, like, look and see, like, that's what I would have to do, because I don't know that, but...
Yeah. So
it's a cool language.
Yeah.
It's cool.
We say das and dits instead of dashes, dots and dashes, but my name is da did it da dit dit da dit da, and yours is da dit 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 da dit it. So
there you go.
And post to post would be da da dit da 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 did it da did da 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 dit da 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 did it da.
There you go.
Using the two.
You learn something new every day.
You just never know.
So that is a pretty nerdy shirt.
It's very nerdy. In fact, I have a button. I'll wear it sometimes. It says, "Talk nerdy to me."
Oh, snap.
Yeah, talk nerdy to me.
Do you know what's more nerdy than Star Wars?
What?
Morse code.
I resemble that remark.
It's almost a compliment. The fact that you've combined an extremely nerdy thing with an even more nerdy thing to make something funny about it.
There were so many shirts I could have bought because the lady who had them for sale, there were some great creative ideas. One was spelled out in Morse code, a phrase.
Oh, this is the one you told me about earlier?
The last word is happens.
The first word is poop.
Poop.
But
happens.
The other one.
Yeah. Did it da. Did it da.
Did you just swear in Morse code?
Did it. I just said it.
Dang.
Starting to smell in here.
YouTube better not demonetize us for that.
It just happened.
Oh, wait.
That was a low blow.
It was.
Final thing.
Yeah, go for it.
A couple of weeks ago, I said a great song to play in the arena was by Arrested Development called Inflatable People, and I had that wrong. Someone caught that. Thank you for the comments. It was Lucas, not Arrested Development. The song was correct, though. Inflatable People by Lucas. And everything else still applies. But I got the...
and you did play me that song.
I did.
And I did agree with it. I think it probably would be a pretty good song for an intro.
And Yeah.
Well, something we didn't do is, because that brought on the conversation about Marilyn Manson and the song Beautiful People.
All right.
Did you get a chance to listen to that?
No.
Okay. Well, I know what we're doing right after this podcast.
Guess what?
So. Do you have anything else?
I'm good. Thanks.
All right.
That's great.
Awesome. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate that. Thanks, guys, for listening in. I guess it was a fair amount of hockey talk, but not a lot of variety, I guess, just talking about second round. So thank you for listening and watching. Regardless of how you consume our content, we really appreciate that. We've got a mail time coming this week. We've got the series recap coming this week on Carolina and the Islanders, and possibly more series recaps because there could be games ending as soon as tonight. So enjoy that game tonight. I hope you're watching it, and we will see you in the next video. Adios.